Hello, Pony Musescript here, and today I'm going to be doing my director's commentary to the final episode of The Demon's Daughter, Balance. Oh boy, so this particular episode was extraordinary to work on for so many reasons. One, it was the biggest audio drama episode I've ever done, totaling at 1 hour and 25 minutes. So it's less of an episode and more like a movie. But, you know, it was there to wrap up every little thing, nook and cranny, whatever, that this audio drama was leaning towards. So, yes. And also, by the time I'm recording this, it is the 16th of December where I am. And I'm actually going to be in America by the time this video comes out. So I just thought, whilst I'm still here in my little recording studio, I could get this done beforehand. So that's why I'm recording like 13 days before the director's commentary actually comes out. And yeah. Anyways, without further ado, I'm not going to delay this commentary any longer. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1, and play. This episode will contain some scary scenes. Yes, the same disclaimer from the previous episode. Speaking of the previous episode, there was a lot of stuff that happened in episode 6. A lot of a backstory and lore that I had to get out. Hence why this previously is just so much longer than the other previously segments. And so because of that, I would need a new piece of music for the previouslys. Like the Heartshell episode 10 and the Color Goddess episode 9, with their previouslys, I had a much longer... Anyway, enough of that. The soundtrack playing right now is called The Final Chapter, incorporating the melody that I first used in the all the previouslys, but also in an ending, no a beginning, which I think I did mention ages ago, was like some kind of trailer music before I incorporated it into the official ending theme for the series.
If we erase their memories of this past week, Teneri should be.
So it's just coming full circle with the key changes and everything is being adding up and all that stuff.
What's going on? Let's just say that not all of Teneri was destroyed by the Sword of Destruction.
And then we also revealed that when King Sephiroth used his sword on Misty in the Color Goddess episode 9, it split her component in half. And so the half that got sent back to Hexar, he put in Rainbow Dash. Hence why they were connected by the component this entire time. And also why he's able to... Well, I'll reveal later on what his plan is, but you guys have already seen the episode, so you know what I'm about to talk about, I guess. The Demon's Daughter, final episode, Balance. "5 years ago." Alright, so this first scene that is shown is by Kara Pop Studios. This is one of 3 scenes that she has done for the episode, and this is also the final sneak peek that was released 10 days before the episode's release. And let's see. So this segment actually takes place during the ending gala in the Color Goddess episode 9 because they're wearing the same dresses as that period in time when Rainbow Dash gets announced that she's a Wonderbolt and all that stuff. And the dresses that Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash are wearing are actually the very same ones that they wore in the Season 5 episode Make New Friends But Keep Discord. So there's a little fun fact for you. Although I think I mentioned that in the Color Goddess commentary as well, because that was the point. And then, yeah, this is the dress that Misty wore at the end of the Color Goddess episode 9 as well. So that isn't her apprentice brooch, it is just her... It's kind of like a replica of a brooch. And this segment right here, I wanted to finish off Kara Pop Studios' scene because there was a lot of expression I wanted to showcase. And I wanted to showcase that scene when Misty was slowly dying in the Color Goddess episode 9, that when she said that she loved Rainbow, Rainbow took that as, oh, love your best friends, that sort of thing. Totally platonic. It's kind of like Lumity, where Amity was the first one to develop feelings for Luz, and then she didn't reciprocate them until later. So it's pretty much similar thing to here, that Misty was the first one to have a crush on Rainbow, and then years later Rainbow would reciprocate the feelings. And then there's the last glitchy image, which is all pink, and the glitchy images from episodes 4, 5, and 6, they were all different colors because they were leading up to memory segments. Like the one for episode 5 was actually the hidden memory for episode 6 with that whole flashback because it was orange and we had a happy looking Hexar. Anyways, enough about that. Now we come to scene 2, and I was talking all over, but there was one image that Pink Escapade did. They were originally supposed to do more images for this scene, which was also the first sneak peek of the episode, but life got in the way, so I had to fill in. But that is okay. I got to showcase more emotional stuff like I always do.
Listen to me. That memory has triggered something
Anyways.
dangerous in you. Every time you feel despair, you're slowly turning back into...
Another thing I like to mention is that Nisty's reflections of her eyes are slowly becoming more and more transparent, kind of like the MLP movie, but it's like slowly disappearing, and it's kind of eerie in a way of how they're disappearing like that. And then I want to mention the amazing performance that Agent does when she's just pouring her heart and soul into just tearfully yelling at Nisty. I mean, up to this point, she's just been, you know, calm and stuff because that's what she's supposed to be doing, but now she's finally letting her emotions out and setting Nisty straight. And, as you saw in the blooper reel that came out, Agent was high on caffeine, and this particular scene did actually take a lot out of her. But, yeah, I'm still impressed with her voice acting in this scene. It was just so well done. Agent, you are amazing. Dear.
Despair can't exist without hope, right?
And so then, Nisty turns back to normal except her right arm because I guess there's a little bit of symbolism there with her right arm being the only one that's still infected. I guess it's kind of like a gradual process. And this is the first half of another scene, by the way, because the second half of this scene is done by Kara Pop Studios, making it the second scene in this episode that she has done. And I think what I can say about her style, which I didn't say before, was that her art is good for conversational scenes, because usually with artists, if they give me like 1 or 2 images, and if they're just having a conversation amongst each other, I can easily pan between each character, and that's all fine. It's not a problem if artists send me too many images either. I usually can work with that too. So there isn't really a limit. I just need to make sure that certain bits are showcased. I think the reason why I had to fill in the first half of Kara Pop's scene was because she couldn't draw hugs, and so I just had to fill that in, but that's okay. Anyway, I also want to mention about the whole idea of the anchors. So the idea of the anchors actually was inspired by the DreamWorks series Kipo on the Age of Wonder Beasts, where anchors were involved to bring like Kipo back to her human self after she transformed into a mega jaguar. Okay, spoilers for Kipo, I'm so sorry. That is a great series, by the way. It's really cool. But yeah, I think that's what that was inspired from, like different beings that would help keep the apprentices on their good side, I guess, in a way. Anyway, this next scene is done by Spotted Tail 2017. And this is one of two scenes that she has done for this episode, and they're actually pretty close to each other. I actually like her style. It's very cool. And then this is making me realize that I forgot the little armbands that the guards have in the 5th short, but that's okay. I also noticed that Spike's ear was missing, but that's okay.
You need to stay here.
And yes, they have been outside the gateway the entire time. I think I just had them in like a different angle where the gateway wasn't shown in my scenes before.
Also,
And then for those confused what those stones are, those are the gems that Hurika gave them back in episode 3 as they were about to descend down into the gateway, and they were to detect the other apprentices and help them get to Hexar's lair, and they were also responsible for showcasing when the other apprentices were in danger. And so then those stones will pretty much make a very important appearance later on. Alright, so this art is done by Sweet Dreams. This is one of 3 scenes that Sweet Dreams has done, and may I just say that her art is absolutely adorable. I fell in love with it right away. And as you can see in this particular scene here, the Chrysalair shipping finally got to me. Yes, Pretty Pegasus Wings. Your bloopers of just fangirl, like Chrysalis fangirling about Nightmare Moon finally got to me. And so then there was that little bit. And then as you noticed in the blooper reel, we also had Flutterose catching on the ship, and also Lightning Spirit VA fangirling about the ship. All the ships galore. I also find it funny that Pianapod's Pod's wings were taken away in the Discord segment. That was hilarious. This was also the second sneak peek, because it was like one of the other scenes that was done right away, and it wouldn't give too much of the episode away either. And that showcased all 3 of the sneak peeks. They all came from the beginning of the episode because they wouldn't be giving too much away. And this image here, I was pointed out, is kind of like a Taylor Swift stage. Trying to remember which one, but it was like a house and it was all rainbow things. And then we have the memories of Philly, Tenebri, and Nisty echoing in Hexar's mind. And yeah, of course he doesn't feel any remorse. He still blames Nisty for what has pretty much happened, because that line, "but you brought this pain upon yourself," is such a powerful line that I absolutely love. And then we have Spotted Tail 2017 second scene, and she's done quite a bit of images for this one. And this image right here, she took the initiative of drawing the entire background from scratch, and it took her like 9 hours to do, she said. And I'm like, wow, you really didn't have to do that in my mind. But it's there for future reference. I think I'd be too lazy to go that far, but I like the commitment. Definitely. And then we have the final scene by Kara Pop Studios, with the main 6 hiding in Canterlot. The changelings haven't gotten to them yet, thank goodness.
It's not safe to go back to Ponyville, y'all. Discord's creating quite a havoc over there.
And yes, that nickname that Fluttershy gives Discord, Dizzy. I may or may not have been inspired by The Last Adventure, like when I saw that nickname being thrown around, because like, yeah, that is a very cute nickname.
You didn't die. Can you please
And then we have Misty. But as you notice, her mane is not cut off. So that should give an indication that something is suspicious. But of course, they don't know any better because they don't know that her mane had been cut off. So, but then Twilight is on it. She knows something is up. I love Blue Streak's face in that image. It's just very meme-worthy. And then we have the first scene done by Moonshine Campus. And I mention this every single time her art is on screen, but it's just so freaking adorable. There, that is the 7th time I've said it, and I'm not taking it back. And then everyone is shocked that Misty's hair has been cut off. I don't remember if I did mention why I had Misty's hair cut off, but I guess I was inspired by yet another DreamWorks series. You know what that series is? She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Mainly Catra, when she had her hair cut off in like the last season. Okay, spoilers for that series now for those who haven't watched it. Okay, I think that's all the references I had to make from the DreamWorks series I've watched that are on Netflix. Yeah. Anyways, so it was a very interesting little bit when I incorporated like the changeling reveal, and that Chrysalis didn't actually see Misty with her short hair because she was already up in the sky with everyone else. So I guess that could play into Misty's advantage for being undetected. And so yeah, this scene is just a whole lot of exposition right now. So that's pretty much what this is. And this couch just magically appeared out of nowhere. And there's another meme-worthy face done by Blue Streak. And this is actually Moonshine Canvas's second scene, and it wouldn't be the first time that she's had multiple scenes that connect together, so it's very easy to confuse it for just being one long scene. I think I remember episode 2 she had that, where 3 scenes were connected. I think scenes 7, 8, and 9. That's right. Those 3 scenes in episode 2. When Misty was talking to Celestia, then she talks to Luna, and then she talks to the goddesses. That's what that was that was all about. And I think I also mention this every single time her art is on screen, but I love the detail of the colored wings that are the same as the manes of like the winged ponies. I find that very cool.
That's why he's doing this. After so long of non-stop peace, he wants the
And yay, more exposition. So again, exposition. And no, in this verse, how everything except the elements of harmony are useful. I think I make a good habit out of that. Like with the heart shell, it was the gems of grief that, and a little bit of the sonic rainbow that managed to banish Tenebris. And then in the color goddess, it was the sonic rainbow. So yeah, anything but the elements of harmony would work, mainly because Rainbow Dash is like at the center of it all, and you know, she's always getting herself into some kind of trouble. And then we have the transition of Blue Streak struggling to hold Tank to finally giving in and levitating Tank with her magic. And a little bit about that image, I think Sophia May originally drew the bandage on the wrong arm, but luckily that's lovely. Another artist of mine managed to fix it up, and it looks really good. Okay, so this is Sophia May's scene, as I mentioned before. And I want to mention that Hiraka is uncharacteristically concerned. Like, with the 3 goddesses, usually the one who is concerned is Satara, but
Maybe you're underestimating her.
not in this
Misty has
case.
far more
I guess
power than
because,
She is
you know,
half god.
Hyuuka has a bit more responsibility with Misty being
Right, Lumina?
one of her aunts,
Indeed, Cetra.
which I think is rather sweet.
If you're sure that this will help her stop our brother.
Trust
And I
me.
also love the adorable expression that Lumina has. It's just so cute.
Send it to her.
And then Lumina sends a scroll. And then we go over to the next section. This scene is done by Zoe and Guys,
You found something?
one of my artists who does a lot of bits of artwork. I'm trying to remember how many scenes she did. Like 23, something along those lines. Just a lot of images. Oh yes, and call back to Leader of the Fourth Wall Breakers. You remember that gag from episode 1 of this audio drama.
Oh no! Nothing here
And
is more
also
useful
another
than
fun
against a
fact
demonic
about the Nis verse is the specific villains are not in any history books, which is just
god. What's this?
inconvenient for everyone.
This spell should be able to help you unlock the power to defeat our brother.
And I also have to mention, like, in everyone's styles, like how they draw Nisty with short hair. It's very cute in Zoe and Guys' style with Misty's short hair.
I just have to read the words on the scroll. To bring back peace and change, 3 memories must be unlocked in exchange. Now
And
proceed
that
to
rhyme in the riddle should give you an indication as to a character that could be rhyming later on very soon in this episode.
Oh my god! The spell killed her!
I love how P delivered that line, but she sounded like she was about to break into laughter, which was, it just made it even funnier.
Though maybe we're not too far off.
Alrighty, and this is my 4th scene, and this introduces Zelena. Although, for those who have been watching the shorts leading up to this episode, you have already seen Zelena, because she was in the second short titled Meet Zelena, and that short was actually a little excerpt from Teneri's backstory, which I released back in November of 2017. But I think that short was so much better in terms of voice acting and all that stuff. And the person who plays Zelena is Jo Pim. And she isn't just a voice actor, she's also an artist in this episode, and her scene will come up later on. But yeah, I love her voice for Zelena so much. It's just very caring and nurturing.
Can you forgive me?
Why, of course, I can forgive.
And let's see, the track playing is of course called Zelena, and the melody for this piece is actually the melody for the song that would appear later on. So I guess this is Zelena's theme, and actually the melody was repurposed from a very old composition that I did in 2012, I think. Yeah, sometimes I have a habit of that. If I have any old compositions from like a decade ago that are just collecting dust in my hard drive, I'm like, ooh, that sounds pretty. I should use this. And another thing I want to mention, which I didn't mention before, is the background for Zelena's hut, done by another one of my artists who you'll see later on, called Crowbar. And there was a lot of detail in the in the hut itself. So of course I had to draw the backgrounds from scratch when I was doing the short, and also the scenes that I drew from when they were in the hut. This is the first scene that they're in the hut, and then another scene will come up later on. So now we delve into the first memory, and this scene, of course, is done by Marianne Studios. I always have to praise her art. It's so gorgeous. I love how thin she draws the unicorn horns, and the long lashes, and oh my gosh, it's just so much to admire about her art. It's just so pretty. You notice that Satara is using her vines against Hexar at this point. And if you've seen the first short, which is Fourth Darkness of Three Lights, and that was like a little mini backstory for Hexar, this is pretty much at the edge of that, when at this point he's corrupted the ponies into doing evil and stuff for about 100 years or so. And the goddesses figured out, oh, we've had enough. So they finally figure out, oh, well, you know what we have to do. And yeah, Hexar mentions that he used to be the god of the seven virtues, and that it was the ponies' fault that he corrupted them. And now yeah, you totally get where he's coming from in this case, because the goddesses wanted to create a utopia where no one did anything bad, but yeah, that's not gonna happen. And this is the first glitchy image from the end of episode 4, drawn in Marion Studios' style. Alright, and then this art is done by Silver Moon, and this is definitely a very interesting style. And yeah, this is Hexar's banishment. They mentioned back in episode 2 that he turned into an old stallion and tried to find somewhere to stay, but I have to give praise for Equestria Exploration's amazing voice acting during this scene when Hexar turns into an old stallion. Equestria Exploration does an awesome job in like sounding like
Not really.
well,
I know about how he got
human
punished.
and not human.
Seeing his
Like
story
his
was
beast
such a
growls are just chef's kiss. They're just absolutely amazing. And then it's nice to see that Nisty kind of has another perspective on Hexar's banishment, which will come into play as to how balance is incorporated. And oh boy, this particular bit I was excited about exploring, because I had this headcanon theory that what if the whole thing with the Wendigos and the ponies arguing with each other happened like after Hexar had turned everyone against each other for hundreds of years. And I'm like, yes, that would be so cool. So that's where that headcanon came from, and that's where that fit in. And of course, at this point, Hesperus and Aurora had tried to use their powers to go against Hexar's magic, but of course that didn't work, and so they're currently in hiding, and the ponies have pretty much forgotten about them. And here's the plot twist. When I saw in the comments everyone's going, whoa, I didn't see that coming, the goddesses created the Wendigos. But think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because Utica kind of controls the weather in a way, as well as peace and harmony, so it makes sense that in her power she'd be able to create these creatures to try and get them to get along again, because they can't control thoughts like Hexar can. Not until they learn how to erase memories later on. But I'm like, isn't that a cool little Easter egg for you guys? And then this is the second scene where I draw Nisty and Zelena in the hut. And the good thing about drawing the backgrounds for the short is that I could repurpose backgrounds later on. I don't like to draw a lot of details in backgrounds because it takes too long and it's tedious. So usually if I can help it, like a floor and a wall would usually do. And then maybe a well-detailed background later on. And then we have the first 4 anchors are revealed, and this is pretty much reminiscent of the gems that Rainbow Dash was collecting in the Heart Shell in episode 7, when she was collecting the different demon foals. And so now we have the different anchors: Fluttershy, Liako, Celestia, and of course Sombra's anchor is Radiant Hope.
For any knowledge from it would be forbidden.
because that first memory that Nisty had was about nobility, which would have been the opposite of tyranny. And I also love that animation that I did of the tea being poured into the cup. And then this is the next scene that I've done. It's also the shortest scene that I've done. I think this scene was another one that was supposed to be done by Pink Escapade, but they were only able to do that one image in scene 2.
You don't mean leave her alone.
So this is a very interesting scene because I also used the Heart Shell soundtrack in here as well with Shadow Doll, which first made its appearance in the Heart Shell episode 9. And this exchange between the two Tenebris takes place roughly in the Heart Shell episode 5 when I guess the compass watch was saying, oh, I was evil all along, but here's a riddle that could break the curse of Tank. You know, that bit. So, this is a similar mindscape to Rainbow and Grisio. So that's what I was trying to showcase for this scene.
But what I don't understand is what I would choose to forget specifically from this moment.
And then, speaking of Crowbar, who was the background artist for the artist that did the background for Zelena's hut. This is their scene. And like Zoe and Guys, they also did a lot of art for their scene. A lot of art. So, this art, what can I say about Crowbar's art? Their art is a very interesting style. Don't really have the words to describe it too much. But they just have such wide smiles. It's very, very interesting to see. And this scene also comes into play that it bridges the gap of the origins of the cure, because I know everyone was confused in the last episode of The Color Goddess when Hurika revealed that she was the one that came up with the riddle to save Tank's life. But this scene actually kind of expands upon that, and as to how that was possible, how that actually worked. Since Hurika was connected to Rainbow Dash, and you know, the compass watch is connected, and everything is connected, so that's how that worked.
No, this can't be. She's too clever. She'll figure it out immediately.
Who will?
My evil side.
And I also have to point out, yes, evil Tenebri is clever, and she will figure it out right away. Because at this point, yeah, they don't know that that Tank is actually Rainbow Dash's grandmother reincarnated as a tortoise. Because so even when Tenebri doesn't know, I still find it funny that she's still going along with killing Tank anyway. So even if she doesn't know, her plan is still, you know, kind of working.
As you wish.
And then this bit, I've reversed Sugar Cloud's lines, which is kind of cool. Well, not just reversed her lines, but also kind of used the filter to make it sound all blurry.
Talking to just now. I wasn't talking to anyone.
I also like to point out the contrast between the two Tenebris, one sounding all young and innocent, and the other sounding all evil and manipulative. And, oh my gosh, I love voicing Tenebris so much. She's one of my favorite characters to voice because voicing villains is just a lot of fun. And, I like how I've made a distinction between Tenebri's voice and Nisty's voice, that even though they are the same pony, there's still some differences between them. Actually, that's kind of like Starlight Glimmer in a way. Like when we first meet her, and she's like the villain of season 5, she sounds all evil and manipulative and all that stuff. And then as soon as she actually becomes a good pony, suddenly, yeah, she actually lets her innocent self show itself, and it's, you know, I guess she sounds a little bit younger when she's good as opposed to when she's evil. Even though it's all confusing. Anyway, Starlight Glimmer isn't in this audio drama, so enough talking about her. Alrighty, so this is the second scene that Sweet Dreams has done, and you can understand why she wanted to do this scene. It's just so freaking adorable. I also forgot to mention that T-Rex anchor was Scorpan and he was in the cup before. But it was just very fast that people wouldn't have been able to catch it. Anyway, so this memory, you guys know. This memory was pretty much the flashback from episode 6 to the Demon's Daughter, and it would just kind of end up being bad, and Teneri would be saying, oh, she would never love you. I think this is the first scene that Sweet Dreams actually worked on for this episode. Yes, you can understand why. One of my many cast members who loves NIS-dash chipping, so that's okay. And then we have the first scene done by That's Lovely. And let's see. He's actually done a slightly different style for this episode. The previous episodes he's done more of a lineless art sort of thing. But for this episode, it's actually a bit more sketchy. With black outlines. And I actually kind of like it. It is a very interesting style. And he also did this style in his cover of Our Poor Brother, which you haven't already. Please go check that cover out. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm just in awe with what he does with the cover itself. So it's just really cool. And yes, this extension of the memory showcases that Rainbow Dash is reciprocating Misty's feelings, and then the shipping showcases itself. And I think I talked over it, but notice the line Misty says, "After everything I've done to you." That line will play come into play later on in the episode, and then I'll point it out yet again. And then what's tragic about this memory is that it starts to crumble up and burn into flames, kind of like a photograph if you set it on fire.
No! Rainbow!
And then we have what Misty would usually have after the nightmare, with Teneri just saying all this awful stuff to her. And I love that particular scene of audio because there's just nothing there, just their voices, and it just make it's just so eerie in a way. Right, so this is Joe Pim's art scene, and I think it's fairly obvious as to why she wanted to do this scene. Pretty much like how Marianne Studios wanted to do the scene with Queen Suelia in episode 3. Her character was in it. And funny enough, Joe Pim, her OC is actually a zebra. So her playing a zebra in this audio drama just kind of works. And she just loved drawing Zelena so much that she wanted to do a scene with her in there, which is which really is really cool. I also love her art style. It is it's very pretty, it's very cute. I've seen her art a bit more recently in some other productions like Parallel Worlds, which I think is rather cool. So yeah, good on you, Joe. And then we have the final connection with the two anchors, the two last anchors being revealed out of the cup. Chrysalis's anchor being Prince Thornroot, which isn't shown, and Rainbow's anchor, of course, being Misty. And then that is why Misty loves Rainbow so much because they've got this spiritual connection, like the other anchors with the other villains.
Once again, and most of all, save your best friend.
And then Zelena vanishes, never to be seen again. No, I'm kidding. She will show herself later on in the episode. Okay, now we come to this scene, which is pretty much the longest scene I had to work on in terms of art.
Guys!
This scene was 7 minutes long in total, and it took me about 4 days to work on. Well, luckily, most of this scene actually takes place in the sky, so all I'd have to do was like a gradient of red and grey. So
Give it up,
I think it's only for the first part of the scene where I draw a couple of backgrounds or so, with Misty still being in the archives watching all this happen.
Rainbow.
And then we have Misty's first conversation with Grizio, which, yeah, is pretty much reminiscent of Rainbow Dash trying to snap Misty out of being Teneri. The roles have been reversed. And this is like Rapunzel, except Misty has short hair, and she doesn't want to go with Grizio at this point.
Why are you getting so angry? Nothing you do.
I also want to point out that this scene also took a while because I wanted to experiment more with a few more animations, like the reflections moving isn't anything new. I've done that multiple times, but there are other things that I wanted to try as well. And the only reason why Misty was able to punch Grizio when Rainbow Dash wasn't even able to punch her, I guess if they were in the mindscape it wouldn't work. So this actually catches Grizio off guard because she thought that the punch would just go straight through. But now that she knows that it doesn't, she can easily attack Misty with brute force by trying to attack her weak spot, which in this case is the bandaged arm. And of course, Misty doesn't want to fight her.
Getting distracted, are we?
And then the bandage comes apart a little bit.
Can't harm her. I know that's my rainbow in there. And I'm her nest.
You're not
And
done
yeah,
already,
I'm her nist. I love that line so much because that's come full circle, because there have been a couple of times where Misty was saying my rainbow, and then she finally says her nist, which is just really cool.
I need to use the stones. But only Grizio is here. And if Rainbow's anchor is me, then how am I supposed to bring her back without killing her? How am I supposed to use the stone's power?
Time's up. Time to die.
Then she does use the stone's power to send Grizio back into the Cloudsdale portal. And no, she doesn't turn Rainbow back to normal. She just sees Rainbow in her mind. You know, kind of like that trope. If your loved one has been turned into this evil being, you kind of see what they used to look like in their mind, in your mind, and you can't fight them anymore. And this is where I reveal that Hexar was behind absolutely everything in the Mistverse. He was responsible for manipulating Tenebri into feeding on Rainbow's grief, and he also told King Sephiroth to put the curse inside Misty and the Color Goddess, and he was also responsible for giving Misty all those nightmares, because at that point he had the other half of despair, so he could use that to manipulate her in his own way, because he knew that Rainbow was her anchor and that she would weaken his control over her, and he didn't want that to happen. But yeah, there's the whole thing, all the manipulations, all the schemes, everything that Tenebri had went through, everything that Misty had gone through, was all to get rid of her anchor.
Weaken your control over me?
I figured out everyone's anchors over time.
But yes, it wasn't Misty's family that kept her curse at bay. It was Rainbow Dash, 'cause yes. And that's the reason, that's the reason why Rainbow is, all a part of Nisty's past as well. And those two images from Zoe and Guy's and Rolly Arts were from the Color Goddess episodes 8 and 9, when Nisty tried to kill her under King Sephiroth's influence, and also when she became Tenebri and tried to feed off Rainbow's grief. And I think this image, this is like the 4th time I've used this particular image done by That's Lovely in this audio drama. Yeah, the first time it appears in episode 1, and then it appears in episode 4 during Your Pain Is Mine. And then a little snapshot of it happened earlier on in the episode during Joe Pim's scene, where Nisty was the one in the anchor gem for despair. And this was Hexar's plan all along. He turned Rainbow Dash into a villain so that Nisty would just become Tenebri without anything holding her back. Hence why her arm is slowly turning black.
But why me? Why would you let your other apprentices go but force my powers to stay?
And now I want to compliment Equestria Exploration's voice acting yet again, but this time on the creepy side of things. This is probably the creepiest Hexar has sounded so far. And here is another example of my little animations that I've done for this episode. The eyes moving, and then she has a blast so powerful that it gives Hexar a scar, and his amulet is slightly cracked.
A mere vessel for your powers.
But yeah, I loved editing that scene so much.
Me and everyone I love.
Oh, and this scene too, with Nisty's hair moving. And then with the speed, her bandage finally comes off. And then there's an explosion. And the blackness of Nisty's arm is creeping up. And then that creepy expression from Hexar. That scene right there is why I had to have a scary theme warning for this episode, just because of how creepy his voice got. Anyway, moving on. This is the first scene done by MCRX Solidarity. And, let's see. I mention this every time, but her art style is very cute, and I love how instead of like normal reflections, she draws hearts in the eyes. And if someone is upset like Nisty, the heart is kind of like broken in half, which is, it's kind of heartbreaking, pun intended. And then it reveals that she is in a dreamscape with all the other anchors. And they're all glowing in all the different colors of the anchors.
Look how far you've come,
So yes, we've also got Celestia and Liako glowing in green and yellow.
as we fight for the ones we love.
And then we have Radiant Hope, Prince Thornroot, and Scorpan, played by Foul Cinder, Firehearth, and Billen. And yes, this is the, I think those are the only lines that those three have. They're quite minor roles, but that's okay. And then finally we have Zelena making an appearance. And the lesson here is that Nisty has been trying so hard to try and keep her evil self hidden all this time and blaming her for all the terrible things, but the truth of the matter is that she actually needs to let it loose. But Zelena and the other anchors know that she won't actually transform into her evil self. Not really. Because of balance, and also that the anchors will protect her.
I'm scared.
So now, after almost 50 minutes, we come into the first song of episode 7, which uses the melody of Zelena's theme, which of course is the same melody from that I mentioned that I composed like over a decade ago, 2012. And I absolutely love Joe Pim's singing. It's just so pretty. And I also have to mention that when composing this song, I took a similar approach to Fight Against the King, which was the first song that appeared in the Color Goddess episode 9, where dialogue was surrounding the song, and I didn't actually compose the instrumental to it until after audio editing was done. So when I was composing this particular song, I actually divided the demo up into 3 separate parts and just kind of had a stereotypical piano as the backing track as reference. So no one actually knew what the backing track would sound like until the episode was released. It's because I made room for the dialogue. Yeah, and I also showcased the dialogue in the lyric video for this song too, because otherwise it would feel a little empty. But the Google Drive file that has all the soundtracks, which can be found on the link on my soundtrack channel, actually has the version without any dialogue from them. And I'll also do like a completed songs thing on my soundtrack channel, and that will also showcase the version without any dialogue. But yeah. You can also see in full detail of Hexar's scar, and then I'd like to call him Hex Scar as a pun.
I'm not afraid of what I could become. It's not healthy to keep.
And then this piano is using the melody of I Would Never Change a Thing, which was the very first song in the audio drama. Because in that song she was questioning what she's meant to be, and this song is kind of like the answer to that. She finally turns into Teneri, but instead of turning into her evil self, she's turning into her goddess self. Which her outfit is actually very similar to the outfits that Hexar was when before he corrupted himself with the
Happened to her?
We thought that
right. So this scene is done by Coffin, and he wanted to animate his scene. Well, if I have to have one scene that's animated, I'm glad it's by him. Oh my gosh. So this scene definitely took a while to work on, and he actually started working on it like before I had finished editing the audio. So that was a bit tricky. And there was one section in particular that he worked on before the audio editing was finished. So, and then that ended up being too long and the audio kept looping. So I figured out how to fit that in, luckily. And I also have to mention the soundtrack that is being played in this section. It's called True Balance. And like Final Battle Suite and all the other epic soundtracks I've done, I wanted to outdo myself with how dramatic I could make this particular scene. It's a little detail that when Hexar is at full strength, he's got like another voice to him. Kind of like how Teneri does. So I think the original edit of this scene, there was also a close-up of the castle, like from a bird's eye view, but I had to cut that out because it couldn't fit in the scene with the audio editing. But I think that actually worked because earlier on I showcased that the castle had actually been corrupted itself.
Time to give powers a test drive.
then I just have one scene of art right here. And then it leads into Flower Aurora Productions. Originally, she was credited as P2's MLP Adventure, but for this episode, she wanted to have a different credit. Actually, I think Flower Aurora Productions was the... No. The original name that she was credited as, like, when I was revealing the new artist, was Flower Aurora OVO or something like that. And, this is another art where it's just very adorable, even though this is an intense scene.
Now in my control. And that is completely charged up despair.
And so yes, by this point all the anchors, well not all the anchors, all the apprentices are just kind of under his control, so they're just mindless zombies at this point. And Hexar is forcing, he split half of his components and he's forcing them onto Nisty, hoping there to be two gods of sin. So that's what's going on over here.
I took away your anchor. You're supposed to be my daughter in darkness.
And then yeah, Nisty is confused about why nothing is happening to her, and then she looks at Hexar's components and looks at her own, and then everything fits together.
It's no use, Hexar.
She notices that when Hexar did split them, that they're actually turning into the opposites of what they are. And that is the true nature of true balance, and that's the importance of balance being shown.
But you forgot one important detail. There can't be two of us at the same time.
So yeah, as Nisty says, there can't be two of them, there can't be two gods of sin. So there has to be an equalizer at this point.
Envy can't exist without admiration.
And then here Nisty talks about how all the apprentices, all the evil sins can't exist without the other. You know, light can't exist without dark, all that stuff.
Cannot exist without love. And most importantly,
and then in the melodies of this piece, let's see, you've got I Would Never Change a Thing, you've also got Why Her and Your Pain Is Mine all being played at the same time.
No, I refuse to believe you.
And then we have the second scene done by That's Lovely, which is a very pretty scene. I love the sketchy art style.
You may have tried to erase the moments I treasured most, but you'll no longer
kind of makes it look like a sketchy fire in a way,
I know why
if that's the way to put it.
I finally know who I'm meant to be. I am Mysteria Lux Tenebri, your equalizer.
That's kind of like the line that Rainbow Dash has at the end of the Color Goddess, where she's like, "I'm Rainbow Dash, the Color Goddess." That thing. And then with all the anchors collecting the apprentices, then that is purifying Hexar's components, and he's slowly cracking. And they're all centering from his scar and also his amulet.
We pressured you because we didn't understand your beliefs.
And even though the goddesses kind of do feel sorry for him in a way, they know that there's nothing that they can do, and this is what needs to be done.
Nothing is good or bad. It just exists.
And they also realize that they've made the same mistakes as well.
So much pain.
And then I just finish off the scene here, and what's going on is that Nisty has grabbed Nisty's half of despair and is slowly putting them together, and then Hexar's amulet shatters. And yes, this makes Hexar the very first villain in the Nistverse that doesn't get redeemed. He actually gets killed, like the Storm King in the MLP movie. Alright, and then we come to Sweet Dreams' third and final scene, where I just pan in between all the different characters. And yes, Fluttercord is canon. I mentioned that in my episode 4 commentary of this audio drama, but yes, Fluttercord is canon.
Back for good this time, sister. I am relieved.
And then I want to showcase Chrysalis Sombra and T-Rex reformed forms. So the design for Chrysalis's reformed form was done by Sweet Dreams, aka the artist that's doing this scene. And then we've got Sombra's reformed form, which is, you know, from the comics. And then with T-Rex reformed form, that design was done by me. I just got rid of all the chains and stuff around him, and I also gave him some whites in his eyes. And then we showcase the Chrysalis shipping. I know that Flutter Rose went completely nuts in that particular scene. And yes, the other apprentices are going to help the corrupted apprentices back into society, and then the 6 components float up into the sky. Their job is done.
Has anyone seen Misty or Rainbow?
And then we come to probably my favorite moment of the episode for various reasons. So Misty has returned back and her arm has returned back to normal, but there is something different about her, as you've probably kind of noticed, but I will point that out when it showcases itself. As Misty has accepted Tenebri as a part of her, she now has black parts in her mane. And with this whole sad exchange, what actually happened was that before Hexar disappeared, he used the last bits of power from his amulet to stop Despair from being united by Misty. Hence why Misty still has her gem, her anchor gem, around her neck.
You can't wield the magic of your goddess form anymore.
And because she can't wield goddess magic anymore, every time she tries to tamper with Rainbow's component of despair, it's also hurting her component as well. So that's why that's happening. Because they're connected.
Don't you see, Misty? It's futile. Hexar has already succeeded with his plan.
So yes, the two different, Despair has turned into 2 different extremes, with Misty's half becoming Hope and Rainbow's half becoming Despair, and because Hexar's gone, she would slowly disappear. And so I also have to talk about the soundtrack playing, of course I do. I have one soundtrack which is pretty much split up into 3 parts called the Howday Suite, and this first section is just a memory. And yes, bring out the tissues, because Just a Memory was a huge factor in the song Why Her, and also my 8,000 subscriber special. So having that be the title is just kind of sad. And yeah, that was Hexar's plan all along, that losing Rainbow to darkness because of Misty's own past, creating the most despair. And then we have a music box version of Your Pain Is Mine. I also want to point out that my voice acting in this scene, I didn't end up actually like crying, but in my personal opinion, I was actually very impressed with how this voice acting turned out. The secret was, if I felt like my voice was cracking, I didn't clear my throat. I just kind of let it do its thing. So that was the secret there. And yeah, the whole reason why Misty waited so long to confess to Rainbow, besides the nightmares, is because Misty and Rainbow were apart for so long, because Misty had so many princess expeditions, she was away a lot, and Rainbow had her Wonderbolt duty, so they were both very busy, so they couldn't really, that's why it was just very, very long that they were waiting for. And then I love this particular scene because it showcases all the things that Rainbow has done for Misty over the years, and what she was able to accomplish and gain. just make an impact of her in her life. And I like to rewatch this scene and go back to the first episode and just see the contrast in Misty's voice as to how far she's come. And then that transition from Skylight Glows Art to this.
You didn't deserve any of this! If I could wish for anything to change, I wish I could take it all back.
Because I would never change a thing. The episode 1 song is coming back full circle. Sometimes change needs to happen because sometimes changes can happen for the better. And then we have Misty's tearful reprise of Why Her changed into Why You. Kind of like when Rainbow Dash was singing Little Tanky tearfully at the end of episode 10 of the Heart Shell. I was originally going to have like music playing in the background, but I decided it would have a lot more impact if it just had silence and like a wind blowing and that was it. And then that one tear showcases the ghost of Teneri. And this is
your last chance. I won't stop you this time.
Misty finally letting go of her past and accepting Teneri as a part of her, and Teneri is no longer taking control of her life. And then the moment happens. Misty finally kisses Rainbow, and then, yeah, you can have Shira, the Princess of Power, all that stuff. The power of gay saves the day, and that little bit, as you can see, the anchor gem, Rainbow's half and Misty's half were all brought back into one component, and that went back into Misty. And this is the second part of the How They Sweet, which is All You've Done For Me. And I did mention about Misty's line before, where she says, especially after all I've done to you. And then one little side effect that that happened after Misty got rid of the curse inside Rainbow is that they have switched their eye colors now. I guess that's another little odd to the Owl House with the Clawthorn sisters. Yeah, that show is so good. But the reasoning for their heterochromia is the color order for Rainbow Dash is actually the same as Hurika. And the color order for Misty is the same as her main, but it's also the same as Hexar, because before Hexar corrupted himself, he also had heterochromia, the same as Hurika, but on the opposite eyes.
Until I found out much later what it truly meant. The truth of it being.
And then we have this whole speech with Rainbow confessing her feelings to Misty with what she has been hiding this entire time. Which we first kind of went more into detail in the short, A Visit from Spitfire.
Terrified I was. Turns out we were both hiding our fears from each other. Looking back, that's kind of stupid, right? Especially after all you've done for me.
And there's the line. And this definitely surprises Misty because, as I mentioned, she mentioned after everything I've done to you. And then Rainbow says, after everything you've done for me, which is just, yeah, it's just very sweet. Yeah, Rainbow may have helped Misty reconcile with her family and have her be forgiven from her terrible past, but Misty helped her open up more, which I think is really sweet that they both helped each other in different ways. And the How They Sweet actually has like little snippets of all the different songs. Like we also have a music version of She'll Be Okay playing right now, whilst they're reconciling.
I can appreciate your bravery too. I'm just sad that Hexar had to erase that one memory we shared. I don't remember what else happened that night. I think I might have an idea. Huh?
And then
But
we have
so for that last one.
kiss number 2. Also showcasing that I really need to draw Pony's kissing a little bit better
Rainbow,
because of
there
my
you are. We've been
thick
looking all
line
over
art style. It's
for-
just, it's very strange.
It appears we are interrupting something here. Oh my gosh!
And this moment where everyone interrupts them kissing was actually something that was added to the script so much later. Because I think in the original script they came in when Rainbow Dash was still like a lifeless Grisio and they were kind of like crying in the corner. But then I decided, oh, wouldn't it be funny if they just came in like as they were kissing instead? And just kind of interrupting the moment. I just thought that was so much funnier, so I just changed that bit in there. Alright, and then we have Equestria Explorations art scene. And you also kind of have a show-like style for the goddesses, having kind of like a similar eye style to Princess Celestia. I was like, yeah, that would probably work the best. And in the background music, we also have the third part of the Holiday Suite, titled My Purpose, which, yeah, pretty much comes full circle as to what Philly Tenebri was worried about in episode 6. As she was worried that she wouldn't have any purpose, and this particular scene showcases that she does have a purpose, that Hexar was pretty much waiting for a new heir. That's why he left one of his components behind, but also fragments of the other 6, so that someone would be able to take his place whilst he slowly got his strength back. Okay, that line, I put that in there because Flutterrose would always pronounce Tenebri's name wrong, in one way or another. I even made a comic about it, so that was just a little nod to that. And then, it wasn't shown in the bloopers, but I think I might show it in a video later on. Flutterrose just died laughing at that line. If you're watching this, Flutterrose, I'm sorry. And yeah, this showcases the true origins of Tenebri, that when she was born from despair, she was actually born from hope instead, hence why she couldn't actually use her grief powers until Hexar put that spell on her, and that spell had remained on her for most of her life, actually. And it wasn't until Misty felt despair and hope at the same time that she could finally break the spell and have all the other components be set free.
But you literally adopted his abilities in their original form. You've become a Hellday. A Hellday?
Okay, so remember that code I mentioned at the end of my 10k subscriber special where the dates of the previous episodes spelled out something? It spelled Haldae. Haldae. Oh, I love that image so much. It's so adorable. Just with red-faced Nisty. She really is just Amethyst sometimes. And I didn't mean for that to happen, but oh well. Alright, and then we have this scene. And this, pretty much in the script, this scene was like Spiaco becomes canon. And yes, Spiaco is the name of their ship. One thing I do regret is that I didn't actually develop them as much as I would have liked. They don't really have too much screen time in this audio drama or the audio drama before. I mean, I did kind of give a reason for that, was because, you know, she was busy with her queen duties, and every single time that Spike would come visit her, she was either doing a tour or she'd be being all queen-like and all that jazz. So, yeah. But yes, Spike is only 3 years younger than Liako, so a much better match than Spike and Rarity. Dear. And in terms of okay, Father and Daughter, that's the soundtrack playing right now, and that's actually a TCG soundtrack, and I think that has played the most times in the Demon's Daughter from the Color Goddess originally. And for this version I actually added strings to it, but that's not added in the official soundtrack, unfortunately, so sorry about that.
Yeah, he truly did.
And then we have Twilight slowly walking up to Spike saying, you can go with her. I don't mind. She makes you happy. Get to know her a bit better. It'll be fine. You know, that sort of thing. Just being a supportive big sister, and it's very sweet.
Every day, I promise.
I know you will.
And yeah, much to the chagrin of the Kanan brothers, they have to be stuck with Spike. Oh dear.
Quite fun to be around.
Let's just hope he doesn't break any more vases.
Yeah, I love that line. Let's just hope that he doesn't break any more vases. Okay, and then we have this image that took forever to draw because there were so many characters. I had to save that one for like last in that particular scene. And so now that Hexar is gone, they can actually use magic down in Nether Equestria, so they're able to teleport out. So that's what that was about. And then we have some more cute Nistache moments. They finally say they love each other, and they're holding each other's wings. Isn't that cute? Because I haven't actually seen that with two like winged ponies that are also a couple, but I just think that's really adorable. And then we flash forward to 1 week later, which this is MCRX's Solidarity's second scene, and this whole thing is actually a callback to episode 1, when Blue Streak wakes Misty up from her slumber. So I just thought, oh, well, let's have a callback to that. I just think that's rather cool. It did come full circle. And even the line is similar. Today is the day you're having your date with Rainbow, remember? Did you seriously forget? And Misty's alarm clock has been fixed.
Wow. And I came all this way to let you know that
I love that
Rainbow
face.
decided to show up to Ken a lot early.
What?
And then Misty falls out of bed. She is my spirit animal sometimes, I swear.
What are you doing out of bed? I was just gonna
And
bring
then
some breakfast.
we have Rainbow Dash's new mane style. She decided to cut it short.
Yeah.
So now they both have short manes, although
But anyways,
they are really looking like Luz and Amity now, aren't they? I guess it didn't help that I did draw them in their outfits a year ago as an anniversary to Enchanting Grumfight. Oh yes, I love that line. Your mare friend, yes, it's official because they are canon.
and everything.
Why didn't you tell me that in the first place? It's called communication, Rainbow.
I also love the way that P just says, communication, Rainbow. Dear. I also wanted to do this moment because I wanted to showcase like how they would treat each other as girlfriends now, because they are girlfriends, and Rainbow Dash would probably say that she is an awesome girlfriend, just like Amity. Yeah, I'm referencing Our House a lot, and I am not sorry.
Sure it's okay? I did make them for you. I insist. Alright then.
And that little expression from Misty is just so cute.
Good.
Now we move on to my final scene. I actually drew the backgrounds here with references from like the canon backgrounds. And then you notice that stained glass window with Rainbow Dash getting rid of Teneri. That was the same stained glass window that was in the music video for I Would Never Change a Thing that Misty walks past. So I thought that was a little callback. I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm like a bridge between a normal pony and an entity, if that makes sense.
But yeah, Misty is half god, so she gets to stay down in Equestria, which is sweet. And then we have the reprise to I Would Never Change a Thing. Kind of like the reprise are going my way in the last episode of the Color Goddess, but this time this is a duet between Rainbow and Misty, which I find rather sweet because I love doing duets between these two. It's just, they're so cute. I would like to thank MLP Wolfia the Wolf Girl for first shipping them. Oh, Flutterers actually did a bit of shipping as well back in the day, like 4 years ago. Of course, this background of Canterlot I didn't draw because I couldn't be bothered. I don't have the same patience as Spotted Tail 2017. And then this spinning is actually pretty much the same spinning animation from the rainbow cover I did of them back in June, but I had to redo all the shots because they have different eyes and they've got short hair. And then we've got the third kissing scene of with them. I think that one's my favorite though, because I actually did try and make it look like they were kissing a little bit more. But yeah, it's usually very awkward because I kind of have the mouth in a weird place side on, but it's fine. It's still cute nevertheless. I have gotten better at that. Oh yeah! The sprites exist, and when Hexar was defeated, they all returned, and these are all references to different things, like animes and cartoons and stuff, but it's too quick to point all of them out. And then we've got this stained glass window, which I absolutely love. And then we've got this future image of Rainbow and Nisty, which might come into play with the future Nisverse productions that I hinted. Ooh, maybe. Alrighty, so now we have the ending credits. We have come to the ending credits scene of the audio drama. In terms of ending credits songs, this would have to be my favorite. We had Try to Believe from the Heart Shell, we had The Power Within from the Color Goddess, and now we have You Saved Me from this audio drama, which incorporates the melodies from the main theme and also the ending theme. And as you can see, I played a lot of characters, as usual. And the lyrics, if you listen carefully to the lyrics, they're actually from Nisty's point of view. Wishing for a universe that she and Rainbow are together without any strife or any magical force holding them back or anything like that. Yeah, fun fact, Discord is the only one of the apprentices that doesn't actually... his evil form is pretty much the same as his good form. So, there's something. And yes, and introducing Joe Pym as Zelena. Yeah, the importance of the lyrics. I love you when the land becomes one with the sea. If you're drowning, I promise I'll save you since you saved me. Because Rainbow Dash did save Nisty in the previous audio dramas, so it was Nisty's turn. Yes, I forgot to mention the other cast. We had Joshua 8824 Racing as the Earth Pony in the first flashback, and Raptormon 132 as the Pegasus. And we also have Matthew Lee as Prince Thornroot's singing voice in Set Yourself Free. Also thanks to Brian Ranvier for providing the voices of Brucus and Discord from episodes 1 to 4. Well, more like 2 to 4, but you get what I mean. He did a very good job. And something I also wanted to do a bit different for this credit scene was I wanted to just list all the different artists and in the order of where they appeared in the audio drama itself and how many episodes they worked on. I had a lot of artists. Some that stayed all the way through, like That's Lovely, Moonshine Canvas, Zoe and Guy's Marianne Studios, and then a couple of others that joined in another episode or two, and some that only joined in like one episode. Like Fawning Melody VA, she was actually credited as Fawn the Banana Queen in the one episode she did art for. And let's see, I think that's the only major name change. And then I already mentioned Flower Aurora Productions being P2's MLP Adventure before. And I think, yeah, I did have another artist that was going to do art for this episode, but couldn't do it. So hopefully you will see their art in the future productions. And then yes, score composed by me. And of course I had 3 songs for this episode. I also had 3 songs in the previous episode. Usually I have a habit with each audio drama, I have 13 songs. That lucky number 13. So yeah, set yourself free. That was awesome to work on. And then we have I Would Never Change a Thing reprise. Oh, this is my favorite part of the song, by the way, when it changes key and it becomes all dramatic. Yeah, this song is pretty much all about Mistache. But I'll probably have a PMV later on, which will showcase the audio drama as a whole and have a bit more focus on Hexar and Nisty's relationship. I think, yeah, I have chosen a song for that, so maybe you might see that sometime next year. That'd be cool. I can't wait to showcase that. That'll be, yeah. And then I have this message for P, because she always jokes that I'm paying her therapy bills every time I show her something. I'm sorry, P. Also, she's got an audio drama in the works, and I'm so excited for it to be released. It's so cool. Yes, no 4th audio drama this time, but there will be future stuff as you've already seen. So, what is next for the Nistverse and what to look out for? So you guys have already, by the time this video comes out, you've already seen the Hearthwarming short. What's coming up? The comic Immortal Doubts. I'm going to be putting pages out for that in January. Yes, that's been confirmed. January through to February, and the comic dub will be appearing sometime in March. Not saying when yet, but closer to the date then I will reveal. And then after Immortal Doubts will be Nistverse After, which will be the epilogue to the whole shebang. I'm looking forward to that. Prepare your tissues, because I'm definitely planning on bringing the emotions back. Yep. And then, of course, I've got Teneri, the movie, which I'm also very excited to showcase that too. There's a lot of new scenes that haven't been showcased. There's a couple of ones that have just kind of been in fanfic form but haven't actually been properly voiced. Yeah, and there will be brand new soundtracks for both of those things. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to working on both of those. 2025 is going to be pretty busy. Well, I mean, I'm already, by the time this video comes out, I'm already in America, and I'll be going to HarmonyCon in February, so that's fun. I'm looking forward to seeing who else arrives there and who I'm, gonna meet up with, and that's gonna be all cool. I'm going to HarmonyCon. Don't know if I'd already mentioned that, but yeah, HarmonyCon, yeah. I'll mention more information about that, like what's happening, if I'm doing anything in particular when the time comes. But yeah. Anyways, I think that's enough talking from me. Thank you so much for watching this director's commentary to the final episode of The Demon's Daughter. I might do commentaries for the upcoming specials, Nistverse After and Teneri the movie. I might. We'll see if I'm up to it. Yeah, I probably will. Anyways, my throat is getting sore from all this talking, so I'm going to stop. So, bye! This is Muscript signing out.